everyone, Ivy Gaming here, and today we're playing Dragonheir Silent Gods. For today's video, we're going to do an ultimate beginner's guide. This is intended for people starting from Season 1, but let's get a sneak peek of Season 4. Thank you to Dragonheir Silent Gods for sponsoring today's video. Dragonheir is my favorite sponsor because it's my favorite game I've played in such a long time. I really enjoy the graphics. They really knocked it out of the park with the new heroes of this season. We are on to Season 4, new season, new heroes, and new Otherworld. There's some really killer bosses this time around, and I hope you guys will enjoy. If you haven't already checked out Dragonheir, be sure to download using my link in the description or the pinned comment. It's available on Android, iOS, Mac, PC, Steam, or Epic Games. Alright, so we're actually going to do this in multiple stages. So this is going to be an Ultimate Beginner Guide series instead of just one guide in one video. I wanted to do everything in one video, but my lists of what to talk about, I could show you guys, you'll probably laugh. It's this is what one video was, but this is what the whole thing was going to be. I got through an hour and a half of recording and had only done the crossed off stuff, and there still was all of this to go. Yeah, it was just too much. Even trying to be really quick with TLDR type stuff, it was way too much. So I intended instead to have videos be about 30 to 40 minutes long instead of 2 or 3 hours, right? I think that's a little bit better. But we are going to have chapters and picking out all of the key things that we're going to talk about, so you could skip around if you don't care about a certain thing or it's too easy, too general for what you, no. So this video is going to talk about our initial game start, and we're going to talk about the login, servers, using multiple characters, rerolling, character creation, identity attributes, the psychic core, elemental affinity. Then we're going to go on to daily tasks, where we talk about the 7-day login system that they have now with the 7-day quests and your special bonuses, the free heroes you get, the free everything. Starting off the actual game itself, rolling into the stories, talking to NPCs, trying to get started with your quests, and what you need to focus on daily to keep you in a guided path, right? And what you should try to complete every day. And then we're going to talk about who to build as well. So there's a lot to talk about there with the 6-day reset we get, the free heroes we get, are they worth using? Who else do you build with them? Do you build the Traveler? Is the free hero like Charlatch a legendary? Do we actually skill him? What about the free rare chest that we get? Which rare should we get? What about the epic chest? Should we get certain heroes from that as well? You know, it's only $1. That's a pretty cool thing. We'll talk about that and spending in another video, but yeah, kind of talk about all of that and prioritizing your goblin team. That's the most important. You're going to be focusing goblin. So having heroes that have AoE and whatever is kind of what you need as well. That's another topic of conversation. Then we talk about summoning. So will you be able to summon right away? And what should you summon? Which banner do you pull on? There's so much to talk about regarding that. And then, yeah, that's kind of a lot for the first video. And it's a big topic, but hey, we've got to cover it all. And then at the end of this video, I will have a little blurb to explain what's going to happen in the future videos for all the stuff we did not cover in detail here. Let's start off with one thing. If you guys are wondering what's with my face, if you're new to my channel, hello, welcome. And yeah, I have a temporary facial paralysis right now called Bell's palsy, just a general term for it. But it's temporary and it's already getting better through the physiotherapy that I just started. So if you do want to watch a video to find out more about what happened to me, you can check out my original post about what happened that triggered it and yeah, what it looked like from the beginning. But all right, let's get into it. There's going to be chapters, don't you worry. All right, so speaking of chapters, this video is going to be a very different format. We just did a little bit of an introduction, and now with each chapter, there's going to be segments, and I'm going to maybe sound more like a robot, or maybe sound like I'm sponsored reading a script. It's because I wrote my own script so I could stay on track because there's so much to talk about in an ultimate beginner's guide. I'm going to do my best to talk about every point as quickly as possible because there's obviously more expanded videos to dive deeper if you want to know more. So let's get into our first topic. Alright, so the start of the game, I'm going to be referencing some of my past YouTube videos behind me so I can easily show everything on the screen that I'm talking about for things that have already passed in my current event. The start of the game, you're going to see this thing where you can click for your server. That's right here below. As you see, target plane. You can click there and see which servers are available. Usually it's going to be just one. Unless they do some big push and all of a sudden there's a lot of players joining at a given moment. But normally it's like one server added every couple days or so. And that's what you're going to see under new server list. Now, there's also existing characters that you can access as well. So if you're someone who likes to play multiple accounts, you can be under the same login and you can make multiple accounts with different characters as long as they're on different servers. You'll also see the server invitation list. Now, this is something that is for Season 1 new players. You can join on to Season 1 with your friends if you want to be in the same alliances. Alliances are server-based, so if you want to be in the same alliance and that's a necessity for you, you have to be on the same server. But the only way to get server invitation codes are via the alliance leader, and they expire every 7 days, so you need to update them. And you can only do that for Season 1. You cannot jump to future seasons. And again, on the seasonal note, which we're going to talk about at the end of this video because it's the most complicated, keep in mind that at the moment of recording this video, there's currently a setup of seasons that are 90 days long. So you start now on Season 1. You're going to play that for 90 days, and then you go to Season 2, you play that for 90 days, and Season 3, that for 90 days, etc. But we are hoping, and they've kind of made us little notes that it might happen, that they are working to find a way to merge together the community so that players don't have to wait so long to be on the current season. So this is all very subject to change, and Dragonheir has been doing a lot of massive changes. Like the reason I'm making this video, because Season 1 is a whole new experience compared to what it used to be. A quick note on the re-rolling as well. If you're someone who likes to re-roll and create different characters, play a little bit and see which account gets the best stuff, and then continue with only that one account that gets the best stuff for that first whatever, like hour of gameplay or something, you definitely can do that now. It's very generous with summoning, but you have to make sure you do not use the same Google account to log in, or whatever you connect to has to be a different account. It's too complicated to constantly change your guest account, so I wouldn't do that. I would just make separate Google accounts if you're not sure which one you want to use, but I wouldn't overly stress that, honestly. This game does not need re-rolling because the epics and the rares are very good, and we're going to talk about that, honestly. What you get for free, plus one of the rares is like the best hero you could ask for in the game to start with. And yeah, there's definitely options that make rerolling not necessary, but if you do, just keep that in mind. If you create extra characters on different servers, different days, then you're stuck with them all on your account as existing characters, and that could clog it up. All right, and we have these character creations to talk about as well. So you're going to get to choose your race, which is some of them are female or male. The lizard folk is female, elf is male, dwarf is male. There's a male Highlander human, and then there's the Adenthian female human. Hopefully they'll keep adding more over time, so we'll get a ton of options. But this is what we have at the moment of me recording. You'll see that different heroes get different base stats, but that really doesn't matter, honestly. Those extra stats only have minimal impact on your gaming experience, so just pick what you like. Pick what you like and then have some fun designing the heroes. There's a lot of customization there, and again, it doesn't affect your gameplay. Just pick what you like and have some fun with it. You can choose a specialty here, and that's soldier, archaeologist, thief, or actor. These influence your main stats that you kind of get some extra bonuses for. And what I mean by that is strength, intelligence, dexterity, constitution, charisma, and wisdom. These are your attributes. So this is here in your psychic core under the attributes. This is what we're talking about here. So choosing a human gets you some certain bonuses, whatever. And then choosing, I chose thief as mine because it gives extra dexterity to start with. So it makes it easier for me to max out dexterity. I personally like to still choose to max out dexterity because it allows you to steal with the highest amount of success. It gives you a bonus of up to 5 for your rolls for stealing, which is really helpful. Early on, stealing from all of the merchants is necessary, and I think it's the most important, with intelligence maybe being second because you can get extra consumables, which you should definitely take advantage of when it comes to grinding out and trying to 3-star your content. So strength here, as it says, allows you to carry heavy objects easier when you get to roll to move objects, but don't worry, you can just keep re-rolling, so it's not that important. It also gives you higher chances to forge extra ore when you're doing your forge, but again, you can get ore pretty easily just by going around the environment, so you don't need that either. Intelligence allows you to get extra stuff while cooking, plus, as this is, gain insight to the truth when no one else seems to understand. That's some of the stuff that goes along in the story, but it doesn't overall impact your story outcome. So that's not that important, but the consumable part is. Dexterity, that stealing and escaping danger. So that's really helpful there when you roll and you're fighting the monsters. If you have a chance to escape the danger or not, this is going to be part of it. But stealing is the most important part, which is really helpful and really needed. So I highly suggest that. Constitution is just for like the drinking contest as of now. I haven't seen any other uses for it, so that's definitely not one you want to focus. It's just a pointless, it's cute. The drinking contest is funny for like the lore's sake, but it's just a little bit of gold and not crazy amounts to worry about and stress over, so don't focus that one. Charisma here, we have convincing people that you did not steal when you have to lie. That's what charisma's for, so that can pair well with dexterity. And then wisdom here helps you notice things in the environment, like discovering a spot, discovering your treasures or whatever. If you fail the rolls and you like, oh, never mind, whatever, you can just walk back to the area and do it again. So that's not super important, although it can help overall for spotting the dangers, which can lead to easier battles. But nothing too crazy. I think dexterity has the most importance and impact. Also here in the Psychic Core, we have our Elemental Affinity. Every season, this tree has looked different. So depending on what season you're on, it's going to be different. And the Season 1 one is amazing. I love the changes they did. So they have this 3-hero. Elemental goes further instead of to 5. And instead it gives you damage taken reduced. So I love that they added this damage reduction and damage dealt to your 3-man synergy instead of the 5 later on. It's just a really a wonderful change, and it's going to help people much earlier. And then there's all these other bonuses now, so I suggest that you focus your team that's going to be your core for Vortex for the bonuses, because you can try to have that align with who you end up using for your main goblin team. By the time you get to the hardest level of goblin, you should be able to have enough people that can cover all those bases. At least when you're getting to like the highest stages, so when they unlock in the game. And then yeah, the end bonuses are just attack for each affinity, damage dealt here, or crit damage for that one. So it's kind of fun that the 5 synergies are still important, but they give you more for the 3 synergies. I really like that. And again, this is only when we're talking 3 and 5 synergies for elemental I guess affinity. I will show that in another moment. But here, let's talk elemental power. So the great thing about the Traveler, I think they're a wonderful hero to max in your first season, unless you whale out or you do just get really lucky getting all of the core heroes. You might not even need the Traveler anymore. He used to be necessary, but now it's not as necessary because the summons are so generous. You're gonna get a ton of epics. You're gonna get a ton of a few legendaries, I should say, at least. And you're definitely gonna be able to get a Sigrid, the rare, from the rare chest that can carry the game. So she's much less important. Definitely worth taking to 70, but you might not choose them to take till 90 like you would have in the past. But they can be lightning, which is a little bit of damage plus crowd control. They can be ice, which is cold damage, and it puts shields on, so it's amazing support. And fire, which is just more of a DPS type build straight up. And that can allow you to synergize with any of the elements when you're trying to build a 3 or 5 person synergy. And all of them have this same mastery skill that deals damage to enemies, granting shield to all allies for 10 seconds, and yeah, enemy killed grants 1 energy point, which can be consumed until 100 points is reached, or once 100 points is reached. So as you kill enemies, you build up this mastery skill to be able to use it again. We were talking about elemental affinity, so let's just show that here. Every hero, every season has a different 3 alignment, so just double check which yours is. You don't need to have every single person in the team have those bonuses. Just keep in mind, like, you obviously want your best DPS, that's going to be the main damage dealer, to be part of that so they get all the extras. And maybe even your tank if you can, not always though. But if you're having trouble with survivability, switch to having a 3-person synergy at least for that tank to allow them to get the extra survivability bonuses as well. But again, every season is different, and it depends on how you build your board out, affects those extra bonuses as you can see here. Alright, now diving on into the world, you're going to start off in this Chaos Dominion area. Chaos Dominion, what do they call it? Gate of Chaos? I don't know what they call it. Chaos Club Cedra? Chaos Dominion? I don't know. Just kidding. Okay, this Chaos Club Cedra area, which is the start of the story. Make sure you click on all of the NPCs and continue around and explore every little nook and cranny you can. This is where you're actually going to get Isotarian as a companion who's a really, really good hero. You're also going to get Hexandra very early. And yeah, they're both very strong for any account, which we'll talk about in a second. But you're just going to want to progress your story as much as you can, the main story. It's going to take you around to the different areas and start to open up your map. And honestly, when it comes to the story itself, it is really well done. And I definitely suggest that you try to read everything as you go through, even if you just quickly read it. It's pretty clever, unless you just really don't care at all about any game and any story in any game. I get it, that's some people, but if you do care a little bit, try to at least quickly read through it. It's pretty good. And the overall story and the visuals that go along with it are really beautiful, really well done. So you're going to follow the story. You're also going to do your daily commissions as they pop up when you can. You can hold up to 6 a day, as you can see here. I have 6 maxed out from this account, not being a slacker, but you should definitely do them every day because that's the biggest bunch of experience to help level your account and unlock all the content. You're also going to follow along with your trial adventure stuff. So every trial has a ton of rewards. In Season 1, the rewards are amazing. They started with Heliodie and Legendary Scrolls. I hope they could push these rewards onto the future seasons. But this is what you're going to do. This is going to be your main guide of what should I do next. The answer is do all your trials until you can't do no more. Do all of your commissions every single day, which are only 2 a day, as long as you keep up on them. And just push the story, which will be in yellow on the map when you can. That will be how you keep going. Like here, you see like the yellow dot on the screen. This is where I'm at in this story. I haven't finished my story yet. So the yellow, orangish color, mustard color is going to be your main quests. And then purple is going to be your side quests, and blue could be your commissions. Alright, so Fae Meander, you really want to try to do this daily as the levels unlock. I got stuck at level 81 for the longest time, and then I've kind of stopped playing this account, so I just wanted to make this video, so I haven't pushed forward. But you really want to start early on doing this every day since it first unlocks, because getting a rare scroll, low levels of essence, low levels of psychic core, this stuff is not important. If you wait to the very end when you're trying to do the hardest stages in the game, if you wait to the very like last week of gameplay, like a lot of people procrastinate, I'm guilty, then a lot of that stuff is no longer relevant and it can't transfer to your new season. So it's best to do it as you go. Plus, it's pretty cool. They have this daily reward. So depending on how many stages you've completed, let me move myself out of there. Boom. You could see that. You actually can get some extra essence and, solvent, I mean. You can get extra solvent depending on where you place, which is really, really cool. And there's also the Labyrinth of Curiosities. You can definitely do those early on as well as they open if you can, because again, those lower tier resources are going to be the most valuable early on as soon as you possibly can get them. We also have this amazing 7-day journey reward little series here that has unlocks new quests every day for your first 7 days, but you don't have to do each quest every day. And at the end of 7 days, if you did not complete it, don't worry. You can go back and collect those rewards later. Like, I never tried to do like Grave of Curse Stage 7 for way after day 7 on this account, and I was still able to go back and check that box and get my free rewards. So this is a really great setup. It allows you to get a ton of bread, a ton of crystals, solvent for your psychic core. We got gold. We got what else? I saw some essence of creation. It's really, really good. And then at the top here, we're getting 5 Heliolite die, 5 Heliolite die, a free legendary hero, which I do want to mention now that Charlatch, while it's fun to get a legendary for free, he's okay. I wouldn't take him past like level 70 because, I mean, unless you really do stick to a summoner team for like a specific area of content. But honestly, the free epic Isotarian that we get is better, which I will talk about in a second. I'll show him. But yeah, you do get legendary scrolls, legendary scrolls, legendary scrolls, and then a free artifact as part of this too. It's so good. And this is a legendary artifact, which is now called mythic artifacts, I should say. They are now called mythic artifacts. So that should be clear. This is a great artifact, which is not exclusive for Charlatch. You can use this on Isotarian instead. So let's head on over to the gallery here, which is a great way to look at the heroes. Let's take a look at Isotarian. He is given for free. He used to be the worst epic in the game, but they buffed him and now he's wonderful. He actually puts out insane damage. And as I know Odd One Gaming on his free-to-play account practiced, he gives more damage total for the battle than an Usha with a Frost booster. So, enabler. He's actually very good with his AoE damage. His summon that he does, which is the passive here, does AoE damage, the dragon. So that's why he does so much good damage. If you look at this and just see single target, don't worry, that's not really the case. It's actually a little bit more interesting than that. It's pretty cool here with this dragon remnant, and he survives very well, and he does great damage, and that crit rate itself that you get from the artifact is of great value. So, we're talking about who to build, right? That's the next topic. Who do we build? It's a little overwhelming, right? It's a little overwhelming. So, I'm going to point out the other free heroes that we get. So we also get Hexandra, who is a healer. She is a rare. She's a very good. You definitely will be able to use her. She's a great healer here that's based on your target's HP, not her HP though. She does scale with enlightenment and attack with her battle skill. But you can give her artifacts that enhance healing, and that's just going to overall affect her heals. And she's also great because she's perfect for some of the hardest dungeon content with Ancient Battlefield, because she actually doesn't put up any buffs, which is really important to avoid with that boss. Alright, and then the other free hero, I say Sigrid is the one you must get from that rare chest from the battle pass, which we will point out later when I talk about spending. But there is a free part of the battle pass where you get a rare chest. Sigrid is the no-brainer answer. If you want to see who you should pick from the rare chest or a deeper conversation about that epic selector chest we're going to talk about a little later, I do have a special video on who to choose. Alright, let's scroll on up here to Fire. And epics, we get Horus for free as well. Again, just because he's free doesn't mean he's bad. He's another amazing defender. He will push you really far in content. You even can use him in Ancient Battlefield. You just turn off his ultimate so he's not putting buffs on himself. And he's really, really great to help apply attack penalty. And his passive helps to keep him alive. He's a pretty solid tank for Venom as well because of his passive and extra survivability. So unless you get lucky and you happen to pull like a Furboth, again, a poison tank, him, if you pull Furboth, or if you pull maybe a Garius, oops, that's not Garius, that's Garius, then you might not use Horus as much. But even with them in your roster, Horus is going to be highly valued when you need a fire tank in later content. And by the way, I'm here on my free-to-play account, and you're seeing all these legendaries. 100% free-to-play from someone who barely played all season after the first few days. It's a very fun, very exciting, generous experience now. And now, who else do we build? What do we do? So when it comes to synergies, the best thing to do is to try to build 2 DPS plus the Traveler early on, because they're a swing DPS or swing hero per element. Like, you want to focus your element, figure out which element you're going to go with, and that answer is completely dependent on who you pull. Like, I can't say 100% this is what you should do, but it's obvious. Like, if you pull a Tunnelon, that's great because we get the free hero of Erich, and that's a nice little wild team right there. So I would focus Tunnelon, and oh, I pulled for Ogak. So there we go. There's Ogak. He's part of the synergy. There's your at least 3 synergies, what you're looking for to pair with your main DPS. But it's more than just that. You have to remember that when it comes to the domains and the dungeons and stuff, the domains themselves, in order to get the crystals to upgrade your flame heroes, the higher stages you can't use fire DPS. They're going to do no damage. There's a lot of damage mitigation at the highest stages. So with that in mind, you want to build someone else. So that just depends on who you pull. If you want to make a little frost team with Usha to battle your flame domain to help level up your Sigrid and company, that's what you can do as well. Just keep in mind, it's never go all in on one element because you'll be screwed when it comes to leveling up those artifacts. Although, to point out something really amazing in the new Season 1 experience, they have these special boxes that we get as you go along in the rewards where you can actually select artifacts here, or sorry, the resources to level up your heroes like star-wise. And this makes it so much easier. You don't have to farm the high levels nearly as much. And if you're just missing oddball amounts, like you can see I have tons of these, you can fulfill what you're missing and not have to go farm and save yourself a lot of time. This is the rare hero chest I was talking about, but even on the free-to-play account, I literally got every single rare and didn't need my second rare chest from the Battle Pass, which is amazing. So that's how fun and exciting this game has become, and I really hope they continue that onward for other seasons. Alright guys, and when talking about the who to build, I do want to mention that there's an event usually that shows here. It should show in the first journey thing, Chaos Club Cedra. You'll notice it as like an event that happens for the first 6 days of a server where you can reset your heroes. Now, they did change the UI. I don't know if they changed the UI on Season 1 or not, so I will point it out. But where you go to upgrade your heroes, the upgrade button here, that is where you'll see a button that says reset for your heroes, at least in the future seasons. I'm not sure if Season 1 is keeping the old way or not, but you can reset heroes. And so you don't have to have any build regrets. Oh, I invested too much into one hero. You don't have to worry about that, because at least in the first 6 days of starting each new season with your account, because you can just wipe them all and move on. So if you want to go farm Vortex, you go farm Vortex, you come back, you reset your heroes, you go, or farm Vortex, you do Vortex. You want to go farm Goblin, you make a perfect Goblin team, you reset it, you go make a perfect Flame Domain team, you reset it. You can really take advantage of that, and you have no regrets, and it's your chance to play around and figure out which heroes you like best and what synergize well together as well. Also, when you're over here in this chaos area, you're going to be able to summon really quickly once you start playing. I do suggest that all players summon on the standard banner that we get. Let me pull that up. Alright, so this banner you're gonna see when you first start, it's the Heliolite summons and the Starlight summons. These always stay the same and the pities always stay the same. So no matter what special bonus event is happening at the same time, the Heliolite always keeps your pity. There is a guaranteed summon every 35 legendary or Heliolites pulled. You are guaranteed a legendary hero. So that will carry over no matter what. So if you start off on this 80 banner, and then you get your 80 bonus logo, and you still had some where you didn't pull a legendary hero last, that will carry over to the future event, like the one for UTR that is going now on this server. So this banner will stay the same. So you're gonna want to, and then but keep in mind the total summon count will not carry over here for the bonus rewards until the event actually kicks in. But your pity from the previous event will carry over, if that makes sense. This is highly recommended that you pull right away any Heliolites you get and any Starlight you get. There's no reason to wait because with this game, there's no events for Starlight summons. You can get a legendary, but there's no guarantee and there's no pity is what I mean. Like there's no guarantee there's just a certain percentage chance. So that is how that works. For Starlight summons, I will put that here on the screen so you can see there's only a 0.2% chance to get a legendary. Currently, no boosted odds for that, but they just added this to the game. Previously, you couldn't even get a legendary from Starlight, so I'm really happy with that addition. The Heliolite summons, again, have a pity, like I said, of 35, and the chance to get a legendary is 3%. So that's kind of how that plays out. And if you want to know more about the summoning system, you can check out my videos on the summoning banners. I have a bunch of videos regarding different stuff, different advice in talking about the special event banners. Are these ones worth doing or not? And how do you gotta do them? Be careful, other events and whatnot. So yeah, check out those videos specifically, which I have shown on the screen. The only exception I would say to pulling all your Heliolites to try to get a legendary with that, well, not try, you will have enough Heliolite summons to get a legendary bonus, a bonus free legendary at 80 summons. It's a bonus. You will have enough even free to play as long as you play daily and are pretty active. This was my free to play account. I got this in 14 days. But the exception to doing that and going all in might be just if you're having a Dungeons and Dragons collaboration, which are limited time only happening. You want to make sure you get the limited time hero while you can. So you might take a pause on this event and kind of consider this only if you get your D&D hero as you desire. But I really think this is an amazing value, and it has all of the heroes in the game, which the special banners are limited to a specific pool and never include the best exclusive heroes ever. So it's always a good idea to pull on the Heliolite summon banner. Alright, so that's all for today's video, which was still a long one. I hope you guys appreciated the discussions here. And again, in the future videos, we have a lot to cover. So we're going to be doing understanding the game mechanics. Now that's going to be stuff like the hero screens, the attributes, recommendations, taking advantage of the new hero training that is in the game, the dupe system, what happens when you get duplicate heroes, what do you do with them, the gearing system, what is the best gear and artifacts for heroes, or how do you kind of prioritize DPS builds or whatever, supports, etc., healers, positioning your heroes to actually play the game. It really matters. So we're going to talk a little bit about positioning, team presets. The new team presets have been amazing that were added a while back. It's been a game changer. Not only can you save your team presets of your gear and your artifacts and your runes, but you can also save the timings, and the timings are so important. And then manualing when you need to. How would you do that? When would you need to do that? We'll talk about that as well. So that is the understanding game mechanics. Then we're going to talk about game modes and bosses. So for game modes and bosses, that of course means like the story mode, the campaign. What do you need to know there? What are some tips and tricks for making sure you don't miss stuff in the story? And then Goblin is your priority. So that's a really important topic. Who should you be using for Goblin? What should your setup be? A little bit of TLDR there. Then we'll talk about the equipment dungeons, your Grave of Venom, your Grave of Rot, your Flame, and then, yeah, that kind of stuff. And like your domains, your Flame domain, Tempest domain, whatever, as well. And then also weekly bosses. When should you do those weekly boss fights? And what are the TLDR for beating those successfully? And Rift, the Outlands Rift, the co-op mode. When should you do that? Do you have to do it with another player? And then Arena, of course, we got to talk about PvP. So that's really important. And yeah, there's a lot that goes into that discussion, but we'll try to be quick there regarding the different modes of PvP. And then, of course, we have Fey Meander as well, and Pillar of Trial that come into play. And then Vortex, the Alliance system. So that is going to be a whole other video itself. Then, for another video itself, we're going to talk about the Alliance system, the guild or clan system in the game that goes along with Vortex. So we might repeat a little bit of information regarding beating the Vortex boss. But in future seasons, they've added a new Vortex boss, which is kind of interesting. We'll have to see about that. However, there's also PvP clan versus clan type modes where there's like something like a CVC that you might have played before with completing, just doing stages of stuff and doing arena and whatever. And then there's also a really interesting strategic tournament called the Sparkle Tournament, and that I will explain as well. And yeah, and what does it look like to be a leader? What does the Alliance leader need to do regarding commissions and tasks and whatever? How does the server invitation work? We'll talk about all of that in that video. Then we have free shops and spending, aka the exchange in the store. We're going to have a store guide. So I'm going to go through all of the store stuff. What should you purchase if you're spending money, and what should you purchase in the other shops that are related to spending money? So we'll talk a little bit about both, and that includes which artifacts you should buy for your heroes, because that's actually in the shop. So I'm going to save that for a deeper topic there. And then we have events to talk about. So there are special events that come temporarily, like the Dungeons and Dragons collabs. There's the seasonal events, like the one for Utior, Ardreth, and Aladia, and then Calavera in the upcoming seasons. And then there are reoccurring events that happen, like typical rotation of like going through having to do different dungeons, doing arena, or the weekly hard training. And then, of course, summoning banner events as well. Then we have the Otherworld exploration and the Endgame boss. That's a big topic in itself. I will try to reference as much as I can there from the season 1 content at least, and how that all ties in, which continental challenges from like the special event tie into the Otherworld exploration endgame content, which is really fun. Kind of, I guess you could say that. But it helps you prepare for it. And then the endgame bosses are pretty interesting, so there's lots of tips to share there. And finally, I will end this series of beginner guides, ultimate beginner guides. We're diving deep, trying to help you guys get as much info as possible in shorter time as possible. But I will always link to my videos that I have more in depth on each topic as well. I should say that. But yes, finally, we'll end with season reset. How do the seasons work? What things do you keep? What do you not keep? And what advice do we have for transitioning to the next season? And what are our hopes for the future of seasons in this game and for servers in this game and whatever? I'm going to talk about that then as well. But yeah, that's a lot of videos to cover over the next week or two. I'm going to try my best to get that all done. It's a lot, and I hope you guys appreciate the effort. This is many hours of recording, many hours of editing to get these going. And I'm only doing one video at a time right now. I had already recorded, again, like an hour and a half of content, and half of it I can't use, and I need to reorganize content. So it's a big task, but I'm hoping it's helpful, at least for newer players, for the new Season 1 experience. So much has changed. My old guides are just not relevant. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for hanging out. and I will see you in the next video. Be sure to download via Android, iOS, Mac PC, Steam, or Epic Games if you haven't already. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. And thank you to Dragonheir Silent Gods for sponsoring today's video.